All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our WellSense Health Plan sponsored class on this June 9th, this lovely Tuesday evening. I wanted to just take a moment to thank WellSense for sponsoring today's class. We are now getting into these warmer months, and nothing sounds more refreshing than a delicious salad with some fruit in it and a protein. And you got to have a sweet treat. So, we are going to be making a kind of take on a Rice Krispie slash cereal bar. This is an allergy-friendly recipe with those major allergens because we're using tahini. We're not using any nut butters. You could sub a different nut butter for this recipe, but if you haven't used tahini before, it's a really lovely, um, it's sesame seeds. It's ground up sesame seeds. It's a really lovely like butter that goes well with maple. So I'm really excited to share this recipe with you all. As I mentioned, if anybody has any questions, please feel free to stop me. We're going to kick off the class with our cereal bar so that way it can sit in the fridge as we make our salad. So first and foremost, we want to have an 8x8 pan ready, whatever you have work. I just have this Pyrex, and we're going to add some parchment in there so that way to just make it easier to get the cereal out once it sets. So I'm just going to set that to the side. And I have a pot here. We're going to turn it on to medium heat. And we are going to melt our wet ingredients so that way they really become a nice cohesive beautiful liquid base to really go with the cereal and make it all stick together. So what we're going to have here is in a pot, we're going to add our tahini, which is that sesame paste. We're going to go in with a little bit of coconut oil, maple syrup, and vanilla. So going in with my tahini. I believe that was 3/4 of a cup. All right, and now we need our maple. Let me just check here. Yep, okay, so 3/4 of a cup. So we need 1/3 of a cup of maple. We're going to do 1 tablespoon of coconut oil. Coconut oil is going to help thin this out since the tahini is a little bit thicker. Can help really make that nice coating. That we're going to do a little splash of vanilla. I like to do the vanilla when I take it off the heat since vanilla is really sensitive to heat compounds. All right, while this warms up, let's go ahead and get our cereal measured. So we need about 3.5 cups of rice checks. I just have the generic Walmart brand of rice squares. You could do Rice Krispie treats if you wanted, the rice cereal, whatever cereal you want. I made this with the like Rice Krispie cereal, and this cereal, I kind of prefer this. I think it gives more of a crunch. I'm gonna turn the heat down on this a little bit. My induction burner heats up rather quickly. We just want this heated up enough that it goes and melts together. So as soon as you see it melts together, you can go ahead and turn your pot off. All right, let's go ahead and do 3.5 cups. It smells really lovely. And I like to say this is a rough 3.5 cups. So 1, 2, 3.5. All right, get that cereal out of the way. Let's do our dash of vanilla. All right, so you're looking for it to be smooth and well combined. All right, so now we're gonna pour this over our cereal and combine until it's completely coated. So I like to kind of just go all through it. Try to get a nice layer here. And I love working with these rubber spatulas to make sure we get all of the tahini maple sauce out. And just be careful because it will be warm. And get all of it out. All right, setting this aside. Now we stir. Just give it a good stir. These are going to be good in the fridge for roughly 4 to 5 days if they last that long. At my house, they do not. All right, we're going to get this nearby. I kind of just sometimes like to give it a quick crinkle. That sometimes lets you kind of work with your parchment paper a little bit better. If you don't have parchment paper, you definitely could just spray it, but just making my cleanup a little easier. Straight into the pan. All right, just going to push it around a little bit. I'm going to flatten this up. All right, so we want this to be as flat as we can get it. Spreading it all around. Okay, perfect. So now we need to melt our chocolate coating to create that kind of lock-in base. All right. So this next step is you're going to grab some of your go-to chocolate. Now, if you want this allergen free, you could choose let me check the brand here. Enjoy Life chocolate chips. So if you want to shoot for chocolate chips that are insured to be allergen free, you can do the Enjoy Life. I just have the Walmart brand here. Give those a quick pop open. So I'm gonna melt roughly 3/4 of a cup. And we're gonna do this in the microwave, a little less than a cup. And we're gonna add a scoop of coconut oil to help it melt. So that way it gets that nice runny texture to spread right on top of the cereal bars. I like to start at 30-second intervals when I'm melting in the microwave. So I'm going to pop this in the microwave, 30 seconds. I'll bring it back, give it a stir and show it to you, and then we'll put it back in if it needs more. Right. Cleaned up my spatula so we can use that again. We're working smarter, not harder in the kitchen today. This is my advice to you all is clean as you go. So if while you're making something, you have the opportunity to soak some things in the sink, go ahead and do that. All right, so here's our first stir. Getting a little melted, but definitely needs some more time. All right, so getting that off, back in for another 30 seconds. We're gonna need this large frying pan for our next cooking adventure. And we're gonna bring our cereal bars back down here so we can add our chocolate when it's ready. All right, here we go. This definitely feels warm enough. Yeah, there we go. Nice and melted. Chocolate can burn, which is why oftentimes people might use a double broiler. I like to use the microwave method in a microwave safe bowl and do it in 30-second increments. All right, here's what our chocolate is looking like, nice and melty. So we're gonna go ahead and drizzle that over this top. Be careful that your bowl could be hot. It's running all around the dish to make it easier. spread. Now we're going to spread, and I don't know. This looks like it's going to need some more chocolate. Oh yeah, this is going to need some more chocolate. We can't skimp on the chocolate here. So I'm going to go back in and melt a little bit more. We're working with some semi-sweet chocolate here. Dark chocolate would be a great choice. Semi-sweet is going to have less sugar. Add a little bit more coconut oil. Just a little bit more chocolate chips. My bowl is pretty warm already, so it should maybe only take 30 seconds. So back in the microwave. See if we can't spread this out a little bit more. Yeah, there we go. Definitely still need some more chocolate. It's going to help seal it all together and kind of create that top layer. Give it some strength. Let's see here. Could need a little bit more. It's starting to melt. All right, it's looking pretty smooth. What helps is the more that you use the bowl is that the more the bowl retains some heat and kind of helps the chocolate melt a little faster. All right, so now I'm going to go around the edges where there wasn't a lot of chocolate. More in the center here. All right, there we go. That's looking a little better. Perfect. We needed a better coating on those. All right, now this is a no-bake recipe, so after this we are done, but it's got to set in the fridge. Just gonna make sure I get all that delicious semi-sweet chocolate. All right, boom, done. I'm gonna set this in the sink to soak. When chocolate dries, it can be a little bit of a pain to clean, so soaking your chocolate dish will be helpful. All right, one of the things I like to do when I'm working with anything chocolate is I like to give it a little sea salt topping. I think that kind of really emphasizes the flavor. So I'm going to go in with just a little bit of flaky sea salt right on the top. Just a smidge. All right, so here's what we got. Looks great. Now to the fridge it goes until the rest of our recipe is done. All right, my friends, now we have some chicken to make. So we have our skillet. Behind me, I have my veggies prepped. Let's go ahead and do our chicken. Some chicken breast here. We have our chef's knife. I'm going to actually work with some gloves. My fingernails are a bit longer, and sometimes when I work with seasonings or when I work with raw meat, I like to use gloves just to practice good kitchen safety. Let me go ahead and grab a bowl for us to use to put our chicken in. And then I have our marinade here. It is smoked paprika, cayenne pepper, salt, and pepper. And then we're just going to toss our chicken chunks in that before we fry them in the pan. Now, this does say grilled chicken. It wants you to use a grill plate. You could use your grill. I'm going to show you what this is going to look like if we do this in the pan. Some people don't have grills. I have a grill, but half of it is not working right now. I don't have a grill pan, and most of us have access to a frying pan. So we're going to do this recipe in a frying pan. All right, so we have our bowl to put our chicken in. All right, go ahead and get the chicken out. And I'm going to put this right into the trash. All right. So I'm just going to cut this up into some chicken chunks here. When holding a chef's knife, I like to pinch right where the base meets the blade. And a trick a chef taught me once is the great place to hold it is if you can balance it on your fingertip. So right there, wrap. We don't want to see this. This isn't good knife technique. See how I can really wiggle it? This, I have great grip strength on it. And our guide hand is going to be curled. So as I cut this into strips, this guide hand is going to be curled. We want these to be roughly the same size so that they take the same amount of time to cook. You have to consider the length as well as the thickness. This is quite a thick chicken breast. You don't have to trim any of the excess fat off, but I did on that piece. Right. Again, cutting these into cubes. All right. Once those are all cut, make sure you put this in the sink and we're going to just clean up this workstation. I removed my gloves. I did work with raw chicken, so I'm still going to wash my hands. All right, so let's go ahead and add a bit of olive oil. We're going to add our seasonings. New clean spatula, and we are going to stir to coat. All right, this is looking great. I'm going to go ahead and turn my pan on. And have this on medium to medium high heat. All right, this is looking good. Just going to clean up this workstation a little bit here. So what we're going to do now is we're going to saute this chicken. And then we are going to saute our nectarines. Again, if you have a grill plate, it's going to give you those traditional grill marks that you might see. But really what we're trying to do here is we're trying to take the protein and the fruit to heat to really caramelize to brown to really heighten those flavors. I have my nectarine here. We're going to do after our chicken. Then we have a dressing to make and a salad to assemble. Adding fruit to salads is a really lovely way to just like brighten it up, to lean into seasonal flavors, and as well as to add some sweetness. All right, this pan heats up pretty quickly, so just a few more minutes. And I'm going to make sure to add some oil. And just add a little bit more salt because that was a bit more chicken than I thought. Let's run around. Beautiful. All right. All right, gonna add this right to the sink because it was touching raw chicken, and I'm gonna get a new spatula. All right. New spatula. I have just a sanitizing wipe. I'm gonna just give this area a quick wipe. All right. So while we're cooking this, we can work on our dressing. So I have here for our dressing a little container. So I have 1 clove of minced garlic. We need about 4 tablespoons of freshly squeezed orange juice, to which I actually squeezed an orange. We need some Dijon mustard. It calls for grainy that will have the mustard seeds in it. I didn't have that, so we're just going to use regular. Make sure you shake your condiments. We're going in with about a tablespoon. If anybody's ever had the salad from Panera, that's like the poppy seed dressing, this kind of reminds me of it. We're going to do about a tablespoon of olive oil. We need about 2 teaspoons of honey. The mustard and the honey are going to act as an emulsifying agent to really help make this a solid dressing. And then we're going to add a little bit of salt. We're actually going to add some peanut butter as well. I'm going to give my chicken a good stir here. And I'm going to grab my peanut butter. Going to add some creaminess. We're going to have this squeezable peanut butter. So going in with about 2 tablespoons. All right. Going in with a fork, giving it a good stir. I might need a bigger vessel. Let me rinse this out. And we can't forget our salt. It's going to help break up some of the sweetness. Add a pinch of salt, about 1/4 of a teaspoon. Give it a real good whisk. Whisking with a fork. Break up that peanut butter. Making sure to keep an eye on your chicken. Now this chicken's going to have a little kick to it because we used cayenne pepper. All right. Just going to clean up my workstation a little bit here. All right, we're gonna have to restir our dressing when we are ready to add. This chicken is cooking pretty well. We're looking for those brown sizzle marks, and I am seeing some good browning here. That's equals flavor. You see parts of the chicken that haven't hit the skillet yet. Some are looking a little bit more pink. Try to flip those in particular. All right, what do we think so far? Some different components to a salad, huh?
Actually, I have a quick question, Paige, if you don't
Yeah,
mind.
of course. What's your question?
For the dressing, could you add the ingredients to the blender, maybe in a larger batch to do the emulsifying for you? Or do you think it's better
Absolutely.
by hand?
No, absolutely. A blender would work great. I was even thinking if, the peanut butter wouldn't
Oh,
break up, we
I
could
love
use
those
some
bits.
hand whiskers. Yeah, absolutely. If you don't want to, this might require a bunch of elbow grease for some real stirring, but absolutely throw it in a blender. It will really emulsify it well, not only with a mechanical manipulation, but that chemical will be aided because oil and water don't mix, but adding honey and Dijon mustard act as that emulsifying agent. So absolutely, it'll help really disperse that peanut butter. It'll even help break up the garlic more. So that's a great thought.
Thank you. Yeah, I've not heard of the mustard peanut butter emulsifier. I'm gonna have to try that.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I know mustard and or honey are really popular in vinaigrettes to help emulsify. Sometimes when we're getting vinaigrettes from the store, they have other agents in them to help keep them mixed. But those are a great way to kind of do it. And some good old mechanical manipulation with a blender will really help disperse those fat droplets in the oil to help it really stay emulsified.
Does it separate in the fridge? Sorry.
So in the fridge, it potentially could separate because I'm just whisking it with a fork. But I'll say that in the fridge, the oil, when it gets cold, especially um, this plant-based oil, it's going to solidify. So oftentimes I
Yeah.
find that it kind of solidifies and the other rise to the top. If you do it in the blender, it might not. That might be enough mechanical manipulation to kind of really disperse it, but don't be surprised if it kind of solidifies because that's just the oil.
Yeah. Tried to find a lot of ways to get around that.
Yes. Especially homemade vinaigrettes. I usually just have to leave them out for 5 or 10 minutes before I use them and then give them
Yeah.
another good
Yeah.
whiff.
All right. Thank you.
Absolutely. Great question. I'm going to get a plate ready for this chicken whenever it's all done cooking. Just kidding. I grabbed a bowl. It's going to leach some juices. So we want that to kind of be captured in there. My kitchen is smelling very fragrant. I'm going to say another 2 to 3 minutes, and then we're going to do our nectarines. Now, I have my romaine lettuce already chopped and washed in my dish here. So I got some romaine and I chopped it and washed it myself. You can absolutely buy pre-chopped lettuce, whatever lettuce you prefer. If you're a romaine, iceberg, arugula would be wonderful with this, whatever you want. We're also going to add in some red cabbage. So I have some sliced cabbage behind me. We're going to do some blueberries. It is a bit early for blueberry season, so you could sub strawberries. And for the sake of time, I am just gonna step back and pop the Chex Mix bars into the freezer. That way the chocolate really sets by the end of class so we can do a taste test together. You are making it and you put it in the freezer, do not forget about it. They will freeze. If you're unsure if it's done, you can always do a temperature check of your biggest piece of chicken. So I'm at 132 for this big piece. It still needs a little bit longer. Yeah, a little bit longer there. Say another 2 to 3 minutes. You can definitely tell with this chicken, it was seasoned with some spicier seasoning because the air got a little spicy. I can smell it. My nose is deciding whether or not it wants to sneeze. Sometimes too, if you pop a lid on it, that's going to help capture that heat to help it get up to temp quicker. If you're waiting for your meat to cook like I am, you can prepare the next steps of the salad. So I have my blueberries washed and ready. I have some feta and I have some sliced purple cabbage. Lots of really beautiful colors in the salad. We're going to get green from the lettuce. We're going to get purple, blue, some orange here. All really good signs. We're getting a variety of nutrients. That's a good indication for a variety of nutrients with produce. Variety of colors usually means a variety of things. Think of oranges and reds as vitamin A's and carotenoids. Blues and purples, polyphenols, think antioxidants. Really good for anti-inflammatory, immune system. Vitamin C with those orange colors. We're actually going to get some vitamin C from the citrus in our dressing. Some heart-healthy fats from that peanut butter. All right, we're going to go ahead and put this in our bowl. The cool thing about cooking a meat-based protein is that they will do this thing called carryover cooking. So once you remove them from heat, they will rise about 5 to 10 degrees in temperature as they continue to cook, being removed from the heat source. All right, so that chicken's to the side there. I'm going to give this a second to kind of just recalibrate, and then I'm going to add some fresh oil, and then we will add in our nectarines. Just getting a light saute with these nectarines. There we go. I have about 2 here. I have 2 people in my house, so I made this salad for enough for roughly 2 people. A little bit more for extra. All right, I know we still have a lot of class left, but I do just want to take this opportunity to put the survey link in the chat. Some folks hop off early. Our survey link is to allow us at the Teaching Kitchen to get some good feedback, to see what we're doing right, opportunities to share what you'd like to see. This is the WellSense Health Plan class, so it'll ask you to fill in what class it is. Give me 1 second and I will add this to the chat. You do not have to take the survey. And it is anonymous. All right, seeing some nice grill marks already. Caramelizing fruits or any produce can really help bring out some good flavors. I think searing marks, brown marks equal flavor. Really intensifies it. Get my dish back. All right, these will not need nearly as long as the chicken. This would be delicious with not only nectarines, but peaches. I love adding peaches to salad. You see some parts of it that look like they need flipped. Try to flip them. All right, we're getting close to the end here, so we're gonna go ahead and get, this is I call it my plate bowl. It's a little bit larger and deeper than a bowl, but it's got a higher top than a plate. So I'm gonna use this to build my salad. Oh, thank you, Tusi, for sharing that. They're looking pretty good. I'm gonna go ahead and turn off the heat and add them back into their bowl. Again, just activating those flavors, really keeping them. All right, so now we have our nectarines, our chicken. We have our other toppings. And then we have our bowl here. Way. All right, and then we're going to build our salad. We have our lettuce. And this could be a choose your own adventure. So say you have someone in your family that might not like this. Say maybe tomorrow you don't know if you're going to enjoy the nectarines. You can absolutely kind of keep things separate and add together as you make them. So I'm going to go in with my base of my green leafy veg, fiber source, vitamins and minerals. I'm going to add in some shredded cabbage. I kept it long to just add some different texture. You can really dice it up small. I liked it a little bit larger. Add some blueberries for some more antioxidants. I'm going to do my feta underneath where my chicken goes to help kind of get a little melty. Good stir. Let's add in some nectarines here. I'm going to take that from the dressing. This smells like a nice warm summer day, which at my house right now, it looks almost like it's about to storm. Good stir. Good drizzle there. Right, I need a fork for myself. Give it a little bit of a move around so that dressing can get redistributed. All right, now I need to add my chicken. Now your chicken's gonna have a little bit of a spice to it because we did use cayenne. All right, here's our final product. Really good variety of flavors here. So naturally we have to do our taste test. So I want to try to get a bite with the lettuce, the nectarine, and then I'll do a bite of chicken. All right, so this has our dressing. The dressing is a really, really nice, sweeter, but not too sweet. It's like a hint of creamy from the peanut butter. Really lovely little citrus pop at the end from the orange. The nectarines are a little warm, but it actually helps kind of soften up the feta so it melts in your mouth a little bit. Really lovely light vinaigrette, not a crazy strong flavor. It is to be a honey mustard, so really lovely. Let's go in with a piece of chicken. Mm. So the chicken is really soft. I would probably cut them into smaller pieces before I put them on my salad to make it a little bit bite friendlier. They have a little zip, just like a hint of spice. The spice that when you take a bite, you're almost worried it's going to be too spicy, but then you swallow your bite. And it was just kind of had a little kick to it. Perfect for people like me who like a mild buffalo wing, but can't tolerate super, super spicy things. But for, somebody else in my house who loves really spicy things, this is going to be a really lovely flavor for them. You can add a bit more cayenne if you want super spicy, but this is a really nice refreshing salad. Nice, cool, crisp lettuce, veggies. The dressing is sweet, but also really light, little citrusy, really delicious. The nectarines have like a really deep flavor now that they were sauteed. And this chicken almost reminds me of like a buffalo chicken. So really lovely flavors here. I also think without the seasonings in the chicken fryer, a little bit of cooked nectarines on like some ice cream, like an ice cream sundae would be really good, like peaches. I'm thinking like a peach cobbler. This is really lovely, but naturally we have to get out our sweet treat. So let me take one more bite for the road and then I'll grab our sweet treat. I will say that the recipe calls for some sliced almonds, which I don't have. Definitely would add them. It'll give that nice crunch, some more heart-healthy fats. Right, this hasn't fully set yet, but we're going to take a little corner piece. This is why the parchment's really easy. Kind of just take off the edge so I can give you all the taste test. Right. So it'll be way more firm than this, I promise. It's just still, because I heated it up, pretty loose. So tahini maple, really creamy maple forward with like a hint of savory undertone, since I think sesame paste or tahini can go either way. Tahini is often found in hummus. So, you've seen savory hummuses. The chocolate is the perfect, chocolatey crunch. But I will say, these two together are a really great sweet treat. Honestly, breakfast on the go as well. Not super crazy high in protein. I'd like to see more paired with, maybe some milk. It would be a great snack. We're not honestly too high in added sugars here. This will be a really filling sweet treat, especially since it's got that tahini, a lot of heart healthy fats. We're going to get some carbs from the cereal, carbs from the maple syrup and the chocolate. You could play around by adding some protein powder in when you melt everything together. I have done that. But really lovely, like quick sweet treat. If you're a cereal bar fan, these are really lovely. All right, I'm going to thank WellSense for sponsoring today's class, and I'll go ahead and end the recording in case anybody has any questions. Or does anybody want to ask any questions while we're on the recording?
Yeah, good evening, everybody, and thank you, Chef Paige. I just have a quick question. I really enjoyed your class, and I was just wondering, like, how often will you be doing this class, and will it always be you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I believe that was Tamara, correct?
Correct.
Awesome. Well, so wonderful to meet you, Tamara, and I'm so happy you could come. Yes, so I do host this WellSense class once a month. It's typically on the first or second Tuesday. The WellSense team posts it on their social platforms, but you can also find it on my Teaching Kitchen class calendar, which I will link in the chat. You are also welcome to attend other of my community classes. All the classes I teach are community facing, free and available to the public. So, healthy habits, we have a virtual farm to table. You are welcome to attend any and all.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much.
Of course, of course. And if you want to like check back on this recording, because maybe you want to watch it again, you needed to see something, WellSense will post it on their social. So if anybody ever misses a class and they want to see what we made, check out the WellSense social pages. I believe their Facebook is going to have it. It'll link to their YouTube, but that's where you'll find the recordings.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm going to go ahead and end the recording now. So thank you, WellSense.